Watcher, welcome to part 18 of Project Bandit. Right, today I've got some thanks to give. Have I ever got some thanks to give? We've got some amazing viewers out there. Some of you guys are just astonishingly, incredibly generous, and some stuff we've had sent to us, which I must mention and I must show you. I've got three choices of backlight. It's time today to perhaps choose the backlight, and then obviously, hopefully, once I've got past all the waffle, I want to just beef up that earth wire because I've been doing some checking, I've been doing some counting, I've got some numbers sorted, and I need to improve something. So there we are. Been shopping as well. Stick around, stay tuned. Let's show you what the postman brung. Okay, right now Penny's at work still, and I've got to get some stuff done before she gets home because we've got some chores this evening we've got to catch up with. The project has been taking up just a little bit too much time in general life. So what today's about is I went to Maplin's. Now if you're not in the UK and you're not in the south, you don't know what Maplin's, I don't know. Maplin's is a electrical shop. They sell electrical ting, and it's stuff like heat shrink and bullet connectors and line connectors. These are £1.99 a pack, so sort of like just under £8 there. And if you went to a car accessory shop, that would be like 15, so that's a good deal. Also got some battery terminal connector things which are going to connect the batteries. That's important because these are the ones we use for the stereo systems in the past. They're brilliant. I can't find these. These are the ones that came with the bike, kind of a special doodah shape. I have no idea where you get them. I tried everywhere, and I know one of you will probably tell me, oh, just go in, mate. Tried everywhere. Honestly, they're just not available easily. So I'm going to use a universal one, which I put down somewhere. It's just these. They're just the gold plated kind for your amplifiers in your car, and they're adequate. They will do the job perfectly well. So that's a little bit of shopping done. Now what we've had in the last few weeks is just something I wanted to mention. Some of you people sort of watch the videos and you learn some things, and you decide that you're going to perhaps say thanks and send us a little gift, and we've had some fantastic things, t-shirts, baseball caps, all sorts of things, and that's fantastic. It really is. It really means a great deal. Now when me and Penny started doing these videos, we set out to just kind of spread the word of maintenance and taking care of your bike. It was never to be about how to become a mechanic. It really isn't. I've got friends at work that have approached me and said, I need to know how to do a head gasket on my bike, whatever. I'm just not going to go there because you can't tell someone how to do that. It's a long training thing. It's a lot of experience before you start ripping engines apart. What we do is maintenance, that's all, and housekeeping. And when we get into projects, we just bring you along for the ride. It's as simple as that. And obviously there are things to be learned on the way. And since we've been doing that, it seems that we only did it for altruistic reasons. We just wanted to spread a little bit of knowledge. We don't have a massive local group of friends that we mix with because that's just the nature of it, where it is, where we live. So we thought we'd spread it on the wider net, and of course with the wonders of the internet, everybody in the world can watch it, and that's fantastic. The other side of it is that as bikes have moved on from the 1970s, they don't need the maintenance they used to get. They're a lot more plug and play. So in that sense, you buy a bike now, you just ride it between services. That in itself is a bad thing because you tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Out goes the need for servicing it yourself, and also out goes the need for maintaining it in some people's minds, and that's wrong. So we've got that message across, and it really has stuck. People email us all the time and say, I learned this, I didn't know it before, I had no idea it was important. One of the best examples of that was the discs, the bobbins, those little bobbins on your semi-floating discs. They need to be kept moving and free. There's a method of using a nut and bolt, which I probably mislaid somewhere. There's a nut and bolt you just put through, and then that grips them, and you can turn them, and then you can clean them with brake cleaner, and it makes your brakes work far more efficiently. People have even thought they've had warped discs, and they've cleaned the bobbins up, and it's freed it up perfectly. So little things that we've spread has helped people a great deal. That's that point. Now obviously people like to say thanks, they like to send you things, and I watch somebody on the tube. He's about twice the size of my channel. He's got about 16,000 subs, been doing it a lot longer than me. That's my friend Pete. If you ever watch my friend Pete, Southwest Rod and Custom, SWRNC, most of you have probably heard of my friend Pete. He's an amazing Texan lunatic who rants and raves and swears and cusses and fixes cars and hot rods. He has a commercial garage, and he teaches as well. He's got a DIY auto school where you can learn stuff on how to fix your own car. Very much on the same flavour of what we're doing. Pete was one of my mentors. He's one of the people that made me think, well, I could do that too. And we do, and it works for you and for us because we really enjoy it. And Pete said some time ago, people don't send me things. Please don't send me things, because it's just avalanching, and I don't want to make an enormous pile of this. We don't do it for that. We don't do it to get stuff. And Pete had to actually put a message on the front of his channel: please don't send stuff to my friend Pete, because we haven't got the time to deal with it all, and we only do it because we want you to save the money, not go and spend it. But people like to say thank you. So just some acknowledgements today, just a couple of things. I want to go over a few things that people have sent very kindly just recently, but all of this on a proviso that really we don't do this to get you to send us things. When I say I haven't got so-and-so, I don't need you to send me one. I don't mean to say please send me one. It's not a scrounge out. It's just that that's where we currently are. It's just information. I want you to save money. I want you to learn how to fix your bike, and I want you to put that money to a better use somehow. And that doesn't mean buying us goods, but some of you just want to, and I really appreciate that. So here's some homage. This is a couple of things we've just received, and I just want to show you. So here we are. This is the first thing. This was an SV650 backlight. Just recently, one of the tube watchers, one of our viewers, Brian Smith, right, Brian, I hope you're watching, mate, sent us this, which is an SV650 backlight. It's been modified. It's got an LED insert inside it, and it flashes, it's a red backlight, and it flashes, half of it flashes indicator left and right, and it's wired to do so. So that's one of these special LED aftermarket backlights. I think what he said, Brian, you was going to try and sell it on eBay. You know, it's like, this stuff doesn't sell, so he just said, do I want it for the project? I've got it. Appreciate that, mate. I may or may not. I'm not so sure. The only reason I won't is because half of this light indicates and the other half stays red. That's not MOT legal in this country, and I will get an issue with it. But I'm certainly going to got some ideas for using this, because I do have somebody, I've got a friend who's got an SV650, and this just might be the kind of thing to modify another project in the future. So that's going in the project box, and that's going to be used in the future. So thanks ever so much for that, Brian Smith. Have a look at his channel. A lot of tubers now are using their actual names on their channels, and that's rather cool, because you get to remember who they are, as opposed to usernames like 1356 Squiggle Bob, and that's a little bit simpler. So Brian, thanks, mate. Much appreciated with the light. I've got that. Very, very kind of you. That's going to go to good use. Maybe not today, but it will. Much appreciated. Next thing was just recent. I got an email from a chap called, well, his name's Matthew, but his channel is Cafe Twin. So have a look at that first, just Cafe Twin. And what Matthew said is that he's got a Sportster, and he bought some indicators for it, some aftermarket indicators, and then decided to upgrade the bike to a Night Rod Special. Jealous? I think so. So there we are. Fantastic, excellent choice of bike, and I hope the Night Rod is everything you think it is and everything you hope it to be. And in the midst of it all, he said, look, got these indicators in the drawer, do you want them? Absolutely, thank you very much, yes. And here they are. This is what he sent. These are a classic sort of bullet style black LED indicator, and they are going to look absolutely awesome on the back of the Bandit. They're going on the back of the Bandit project. The reason being that, I don't know if they're steel or aluminum. No, they're alloy. So they're going to go. They're heavy, and I'm very, very, very pleased with them. Thank you so much. The one thing, Matthew, is that when I was going to buy some indicators, I was probably going to get some little cheap plastic ones just to get them on there and get some indicators going. I probably wouldn't have splashed out. So thank you very much. These are exactly what I would have bought if I'd had a budget on it. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated, Matthew. Very kind of you. So Cafe Twin, check it out. He's got a Night Rod Special any minute now. He's got some cool video of burnouts. Everybody should watch videos of burnouts, shouldn't they? A video of a burnout is just cool. So watch his videos. Check out Cafe Twin. Thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. And they will be used. And very shortly, I'm going to make a bracket for those, and they'll be wired in. Which brings us to the last one on the thanks list today. This is just amazing. Now, we had a mail some little while ago from someone we've known for a long time, someone who's been a subscriber for a long time, a friend of mine called Brett Snow. Now, Brett's in Australia, in a little town called Stratford, which is, we've looked at on Google Earth, and we've looked at your street. It's really flat there, and I've seen that it floods. It's South Australia, and Brett said, look, I'm just going to send you something because you saved me some money and some expense on getting my bike fixed. I've learned some stuff, so I want to say thanks. I want to send you something. Really appreciate that. Didn't do it for that reason, you know that. But I really appreciate it, and I think what you've done is sent us the most amazing thing. Now I want to show you something first. Stay there. Now Brett saw me using this. This is my my sort of my robo mask, which I use for welding. The the glass in the top's fallen out. It's the thing that holds it has fallen out, so I just use the glass on its own, just the dark bit, and it likes to get weld over the top and down the back of my neck, which is cool, which is why I always spin the hat round when I'm welding. And I think what Brett decided was to help out, and he said, I'm going to send you a little something, and a box arrived. So Brett, you are a legend. This is amazing. I'm a little bit humbled by this and ever so slightly embarrassed, purely because I didn't expect something so special. Very, very kind of you. This is amazing. What Brett has done is he's gone out and bought, I would imagine, or has got and has sent us a very cool weld mask. A proper auto darkening arc activated weld mask. We get these here, we can get them in the Machine Mart, and this was one of the things that I said to Penny is on my Christmas list. I need one of these because then I can strike a weld up more accurately. Many's the time I've struck a weld up half an inch from where it needs to join. Oops, grind it off and start again. So Brett, what can I say, mate? Absolutely amazing. The instructions, everything are here. I wouldn't have had the budget with the bike and the business recovery. We closed the business, boy, with it all about 18 months ago, and I've been working 60 hours a week to try and replace the money that business ate, and we're gradually getting back on our feet, and something like this was going to be on the budget for Christmas present. I was going to make that penny so that get me one of these, save up and so on. But Brett, you beat us to it. You absolute legend. Thank you so much, sir. You are an amazing mate. Thanks so much. That is going to be used all the time. I've got a lot more to do on the Bandit, a lot more welding to do, and as I say again, my friend, I'm slightly humbled by that, and ever so slightly embarrassed. Thank you so much. To receive a gift from someone because you've done something that they've benefited from is incredible, and something it does, it gladdens my old heart, because I'm a cynical old git myself, and I tend to feel sometimes that the biker spirit is dead, and that these days it's all go out and buy a new phaser with a top box and wear a high vis and go and do a course and you're an expert. You know, bikers, real bikers, do things like this. Real bikers look out for each other and they help out, and we're a family. So without making gooey before anybody starts crying, I'm going to say again, Brett Snow, check out his channel. Absolutely amazing, Brett. Thank you so much for that. I can't say it enough. Again, same thing we've got with all of the stuff that we get sent. The most important thing is that we don't ask for this. It's just that people have got it, or they have an ability to get it, and they just want to send it as a thank you. So that's much appreciated. So Brett, thank you for the mask. It's easy for you to say. Matthew, thanks for the indicators. Cafe Twin, go and check out that because he's got some cool Harley stuff on the videos. And again, finally, Brian, for the backlight. Appreciate that. It will be used. So that sums it up. Thanks ever so much, folks. Really, really appreciate these amazing gifts. You don't need to send them. We don't do it for that reason. It's done because we want to help. We want you to learn so that you can save money and move on and enjoy your bike, and then keep it safe at the same time, and not get tucked up by unscrupulous main agents who might charge some of the most ridiculous prices. Right now, stick around and stay tuned, because what I've got to do is choose between 3 backlights, 2 backlights really, because I've already said about one of them, and I think I want an opinion, so you can give me some opinions in the comments box. See what happens. Okay, couple of things. Thanks again for these. These are just so cool. How cool are they? Oh, right. Couple of things. I did have an idea on 2 lights, and I just want an opinion. Really, kind of more of just whether you think it's something I should do, because I've got a reasoning behind it. This is the Bandit backlight. That's what I was going to use for the project. Kind of like it. It's compact, but it'll have to be grafted into the tail panel and screwed in, very much like it was on the Bandit's original bodywork. And then you plug the backlight, you take the backlight out, because there really isn't the room. I'll show you in a minute. That would end up making the tailpiece quite a lot longer, because it in itself is long, and it has a bayonet fixing on the back, so you're looking at a good 6 or 7 more inches in length of the tailpiece, and that's defeating the object of cutting the thing short. But what do you reckon to one of them? Now, if you haven't seen these before, this is the venerable old Velocet backlight. Velocet motorcycles way back in days of black and white used to have these as standard. Yes, indeed, you have a bulb there and a bulb there. That one runs all the time, and that's your brake light, and when you press that, it says stop. Or you can get all sorts of funky ones that say fuck and whatever you like, just if you're a bit of a knobhead. And they're steel. The whole thing is steel. That's steel. It's all metal, and They're quite heavy and weighty. It's small and it's dinky and it's not very Street Fighter. But there's a story behind this, and the story goes, this came from a bike that I built. Tell you the story briefly. A friend of ours, mine and Penny's, was killed some years ago on a motorcycle. He had a tragic accident, and it was even more tragic than you could believe. When Penny bought her first Harley in 2008, she bought it from a salesman called Darren Mulliner. Darren Mulliner was an amazing fella. He really was. Absolute live wire. He virtually ran the Harley dealership. He was the face of that Harley dealership, him and a guy called Red Thetford. And between the two of them at that time in 2008, they probably sold more bikes than the whole of the south of England's Harley people. So Darren sold Penny her bike and said, look, leave it with me over the week, come back next weekend and you pick your bike up, take it away. We'd saved up. It was 2008. How long ago was that? We did have the money to do it, and we bought this new Harley, and we decided that Penny was going to ride it at the house first, not away from the dealership under the gaze of all the guys there and all the people watching. She just felt too embarrassed, so we took a trailer and we went out there the following Sunday. Now on the Friday night, Darren Mulliner rang Penny and said, look, I've got your registration ready, your bike's all ready. I won't be here Sunday because I'm going to a show, so but I'll see you the following week when you come out for a coffee after you've ridden it for a week. That was on the Friday night. He got all the registration done. We went out on the Sunday morning to pick the bike up, and Red Thetford, the other guy, came out and said, look guys, there's some terribly tragic news. Darren was killed yesterday on the Saturday on a Buell riding to a charity bike event in Wisbech up in Cambridgeshire. He was going around a right hand bend, leant over, and he collected a truck coming the other way in the head, and they couldn't revive him at the scene. He didn't regain consciousness. So Darren kind of died, and his bike, his own personal bike, his bobber, it was half built. It was with a company called Attitude Customs. If you Google them up, Attitude Customs is a chopper building shop over in Southampton on the south coast. They build some amazing choppers, and it was half built, but obviously Darren had been killed, so the bill wasn't going to be paid. So they put the bike back together as it was. It was rideable, and they put it in the dealership. And I went and bought it, and that was the light from it. What it had on the back, I made this doodah bracket, which this bracket bolted onto the, you know, on a hardtail frame you get the wheel axle plate at the back. I drilled the axle plate and bolted that through. The light went there, and the number plate went underneath. In the end I took it off and I used a different sort of LED cat's eye affair. But that, like all good extras, when you take them off, I kept it. You can buy them, and I've always had it. And it's the backlight that Darren chose for the bike. So I've always kept it. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to use this, and I'll show you why. Have a look at the bike. Right, this is the point. This is the backlight. Bear in mind the battery's going to go in there. Even if, well, that, where are we? Here it is. That bayonet has got to go in the back of that light, so that's going to stick out at least, what, that much extra. So at least that much extra on the back of that. So we're looking at kind of here. When you look at the length of the thing, it's starting to get ridiculous wherever I put it. But on the other hand, this is a completely self-contained individual light, and all I need to do is screw it through the back of the battery box. These wires here, these have been soldered on straight, because that's when they were down here on a bike like that on a side mount, that's, they went through a piece of copper tubing. I'll bore you with it, but where is it? There it is. I ran the wiring through that, and it went into the blah blah plumbing tubing. So in a nutshell, they can be taken off, mounted so that they come off at 90 degrees like this. So they can all go through there, and inside the battery box present nothing more than about an inch of intrusion into the battery box, and be solidly mounted there on the back, right up. It'll actually be flush like that, right up nice and flush, but down here. So that's the idea with that, and then hopefully when that's mounted lower in its correct position, under there, facing that way, these wires are so straight I can't bend them. but that will look a lot neater. And I think the whole idea of a very small, neat and minimal light, and that's steel as well, I kind of like the fact that it's steel and not plastic, because on the front, when I get to the front, I haven't touched any of this. All this is exactly as it was when we wheeled it in the garage, but all that's coming off. The whole fairing on the front, the mudguard, the whole lot, the clocks, it's all going to be very flush, number board. I want some little projector light style things in the front, so thinking that that would very much go with the projector lights. And the story, it is Darren's chosen light. My old mate Darren Mulliner, that's what he had on his bobber that I then bought, did a load more work to, and then got featured in a magazine. So I don't know if that's the right one. But anyway, before I do anything else, maybe you can give us an opinion. This wire I put in, we had a lot of comments on this. This little plug here is an earth plug. Because the battery strap was there, the battery strap, without you being able to see it, goes down the back of the engine, right down there, and the earth strap's about 3 feet long, not that, 2 foot long at the most. But coming along here, this loom there, that one emerges here. That's it there. Whoops, off camera. That's the loom there. Now this, you can see, emerges out of it. So this earth goes to the front, and it comes all the way up to the front, and it produces an earth for the lights and any electrics and indicators at the front. The reason that it happens is that this is a fairing, and fairings are bolted on at best just by a couple of bolts down in there. That's not a very good earth. So when you earth the wire into the fairing frame, you have to subsequently earth it again into the loom direct and straight to the battery, and that is said wire. Now I've checked this, and I'll take it off. I'm going to undo all this again in a minute. Take that strap out. Now that's the connection that I did the other day, and that's the plug. And all I've done is cut that off there, because there is where it was mated into the battery terminal, because that's where the battery lived. So that was simply going to go as it is and run this wire. But the problem I've identified that I need to do today is this. That's a 5 amp wire, quite simply 5 amp, which is good for lights, bulbs, everything, speakers, the lot. But looking at this, that is a 10. So you've got a 10 amp earth, and I've reduced it to a 5 amp, and that's no good. So I need to double that up, and I have a cunning method. Right, all I've done, just because it's the simplest way to do it, I did have, all I've got in black is this rather wimpy little 5 amp, just 5 amp cable, and I need some of this 10 amp. So quite simply, easiest way to deal with it is, as that is a 10 amp cable, the earth, I don't need to solder it. A couple of people said, don't you think you should solder it? Well, it's got a plug connector, and the idea of that was that you could take the main strap off, because that was squeezed in to the terminal, and then you could take the earth cable or the earth strap off, and then that stayed. You didn't have to cut it and rejoin it, you just replugged it in. And as that's just a plug, that was a perfectly adequate, and it's a locking plug, it won't come undone, it's got a little snap lock. I just need to graft this on, so gonna boogie with a bit of heat shrink. Now I know it's red, I know anybody's saying now it's red and you shouldn't use red for earth, but I'll paint it black. One of the things you should never do is, if you're painting your bike, if you're dealing with a street fighter, or you're building anything, making any sort of custom bike, one thing you should never do if you're spraying it matte black is get it on your wiring, because obviously then all the colour coding's screwed up and you don't know what you've got. You don't know what goes where, because it's all the same colour. But in this instance, I'm putting the wrong colour wire in, and it's only because that's all I've got. I'm just using what I have. That's a 10 amp wire now, all the way back, and that will be perfectly adequate. Rather than using a 5 amp wire or doubling up a 5 amp wire, which is a stupid way to do it. This is a safer, simpler way. Now these crimp connectors, a lot of people said you'd solder it. Yep, you should. But this is just an earth lead, and it's already got a plug in it. It will be perfectly adequate as it is. and that is more than strong enough. The connection that that's made there is stronger and beefier than any plug socket. So what I need to do now is insulate that properly. And there we are. I really must get a little tiny blow lamp. That's it. Do love this heat shrink stuff. So therapeutic watching it all shrink up. And I know I've said a lot of times that wiring's boring, but actually, if you take time and you're not in a rush, and it doesn't have to be hurried, you can do a good job, and it looks quite good. There we go. Perfect. There we are. Right, now let's get some clips in. I'll put it where it's meant to go. Now, I know it's red, like I said, but it's going to get painted. I'll just run some matte black paint over that in the end, so it doesn't cause any confusion in the future. And that's now a proper 10 amp wire run for the earth. Alright, so there we are. That's long enough for one video. You can see that. But that's one tidy join. Very tidy join. And nicely insulated. And I'll colour this red lead in black so that it's correct before anything major needs to be done. That's just okay there for now. And the greatest part of it is I've now got a nice 10 amp earth cable, which, as I said, runs along the loom to all the electrics in the front fairing, and that's now more than adequate. That will do the job. That's fine. And something else finally I just wanted to say, a couple of people have said that these cables ain't thick enough. Well, that's the cable I'm using, and that's the standard cable, so they are the same thickness. This has got a thicker coating on it. When you bend it, it kind of stays where you put it, and this stuff's more flexible. Because this is the stuff for ice, you know, in-car entertainment. This is the stuff you use for amps and that, and it's a finer quality. The coating over it's silicon rather than, it's like a gel silicon coating. It's just a nicer wire. This is horrible, stiff, nasty old stuff. And as for the earth lead, that's the original earth lead, and that's the one I'm going to use. So that's thicker. That is a 30 amp earth lead as opposed to that, which is only 20. So I've gone up 10 amps on the earth lead, which the fact that it's that much longer than it was is a good idea. So there we are. That's that. A little bit of tidying up, and I think backlight chosen for the obvious reasons. So there we are. Thanks for watching that little bit. I know it's a bit long-winded. I just wanted to say those thanks because they're very important to me. As I said, it's ever so slightly humbling to have people send you things. We don't ask for them. We don't do these videos to gain anything. Only the fact that we can make a few friends around the world and we can help people out. It is a different world these days, and I think the portal of the internet, the platform of the internet, is a great way to spread the things you know. So do it yourself. Things you know, get them out on a video. There's always someone can benefit from it. So that was it. Sorry to make this a little bit longer than usual. I just wanted to say thanks to Brett for the mask. The most amazing gift. Thank you so much, Brett Snow. Check out his channel. Thanks to Brian Smith for the light. Appreciate that, Brian. I may not use it. Like I said, I'm probably going to go with the Veloset backlight in this instance, but if you see the Rat when it's finished, you'll see what I mean. It is a Rat and Survival bike. It's going to have nearly no lights on the front, just a little tiny things, and they'll go with that exactly. And the most important thing, Cafe Twin, Matthew, thanks for the indicators. They're going to be absolutely perfect, just what I wanted. So those thanks dealt with. Thanks for tuning in and watching Delboy's Garage. Sorry this hasn't been so much about the work, but join us for the next one, which will be up very, very shortly. Fit in the light. Take it easy.